Superintendent McCarthy knows that a police officer is only as effective as when he has the trust of those he serves. After this weekend, after effectively handling both the protests that followed the release of the McDonald video last week and the arrest of Tashawn's killer, Superintendent McCarthy and I began a discussion on Sunday about the direction of the department and the undeniable fact that the public trust in the leadership of the department has been shaken and eroded. This morning, I formally asked for his resignation. The superintendent, Garry's record at the Chicago Police Department is a strong one, and one that he can be proud of. I'm grateful for his service to the city. He has both modernized the police department and brought real results for the people of the city of Chicago. But now is the time for fresh eyes and new leadership to confront the challenges the department and our community and our city are facing as we go forward. I've asked First Deputy John Escalante to serve as acting commissioner until the police board has conducted a thorough search. From body cameras to today's task force to the new superintendent, this is not the end of the problem, but it is the beginning of the solution to the problem. There are systematic challenges that will require sustained reforms. It is a work in progress as we continue to build the confidence and the trust by the public in our police force. Everyone has a role to play, and I'm just as responsible and as accountable as everyone else in working towards that solution. I do not take that responsibility lightly and will work to ensure that every day we ensure we realize a strong Chicago we all want and the public deserves. Laura.
You talked about transparency and accountability. If you knew about the Laquan McDonald case before, why didn't you just come out in front of it?
Well, 2 points, Lauren, I would say. One is, as you know, the family contacted the Corporate Counsel, Steve Patton's office on February 26th. And that information has been made public, and we reached a resolution with them in short order, and then it was taken to the City Council. If you go back to Steve's testimony in City Council in April, you'll not only hear the settlement, but you also hear a full, thorough discussion of the videotape. Second, and all that is not only in that material, but also, I would say, in what was in that video. So it was published in that way. As you can tell, and it's self-evident, we have 2 principles. One is the desire for public information, and 2, also the principle about the integrity of an investigation. It is clear, and other city handlers are trying to work their way through it, that those 2 principles are in conflict. If you look at what I just asked the commission to do, is to not only take past practices and protocols and programs that exist in place today and have existed, but to ask core questions about a video, which is how do you make it public without either compromising, tainting, or in any way hindering an ongoing investigation. Now there's a common practice across the country, and there's a practice that's been in place here in the city of Chicago. You don't hinder, you don't compromise an ongoing investigation. Yet, it's clear, you all want, and the public deserves, that information. There are 2 conflicting principles. That is why, just having met recently, just this morning with the commissioners, the 5 individuals, do we need to make any changes to that practice to ensure that what we've seen, you don't question why it's being held, and I've given that answer. Steve gave that answer when he was testifying back in April and he described the video, is to also ask, how do you reconcile those so the public gets what they want, but you don't ever get a situation that somehow you compromise an investigation and they can't come to a conclusion to bring a level of justice, right?
Given the urgency of the problem, the violence, the confidence in police, why is this task force's report not due until after the primary? There seems to be a political decision.
No, I beg to differ. First of all, I think if you know the work, and I just said this to them, if they could get it done earlier, great. That's the deadline I gave you. If you need an extension, you're going to have to say that. I try to make it, as I said to them, focus and go deep. These problems are real and systemic, and I don't want you to lose sight of anything. There's a real deadline, though, to get us the material to get work.
Mayor, you've been in office for 4.5 years. When you came in office, the Chicago Police Department had a long history of police misconduct, excessive force. Why is it you have not acted on this issue until now when a judge forced the release of this video and forced you to act?
Well, I just, as I could, beg to differ with that, but let me just go to two ways as examples, if I can. First of all, we reinvigorated community policing. Second, as you know, just a couple months ago, we did an unprecedented agreement with the ACLU. It was actually more than a couple months ago, which it was not under court order or a lawsuit. We brought an agreement between the ACLU and the police department to look into how they handle cases. It's just two examples. And in fact, a lot of the material that's out there is because of the level of transparency we brought to the data around the police department. And you can even go back to 2013, where I asked former Prosecutor Safer to do a report also on a series of issues as it relates to transparency or information. So I don't accept that. That doesn't mean, as I said, you are right, there's a long history. We have made progress, but our work is not done.
You should have acted.
But our goal, as I would say to you, is to build the trust and confidence with the public. And at this point in this juncture for the city, given what we're working on, he has become an issue rather than dealing with the issue, and a distraction. Now, I support, and I've said it and noted, the results of his work. 34% reduction, Bill, over the last 4.5 years in crime. But we must get to that confidence and trust to build what I think is necessary, which, as I said, towards a solution.
Mayor?
No, I have a lot of loyalty to what he's done and him, but I have a bigger loyalty to the city of Chicago, its future, and the strength of that future. And no one person trumps my commitment and my responsibility to the city of Chicago and its future. I thank him for his service, but we now need to make a move in both leadership, the commission, the body cameras are all of a piece of starting to build that trust and that confidence, and that's essential to bring the type of safety we want to see in the city of Chicago.
Mr. Mayor?
Carol?
Mayor, how do you engender trust in the community when you as mayor didn't even see that video for 13 months, and your own police department, just hours after the shooting happened, put out false information about it?
Well, first of all, my level as it relates to my testimony. I think my answer to that goes to the first part. One is we have a practice, not unique to Chicago, is that you don't do anything as it relates to material evidence that would hamper, hinder, compromise an investigation. I've asked the commission to look into this because there's need for that information. I don't look at material in a criminal investigation, any of them. And if I had looked at that video, your question before, in the next 7 months, is why do you get to see it and nobody else does? So I would see it when everybody else would see it, even though I don't look at other evidence. And I do want an update of a practice that clearly has got two principles in total conflict with each other. Mike?
Mr. Mayor, how can you build trust and transparency when it appears that the tapes have been tampered with? I mean, are we ever going to get the truth about what's happened to those? What happened to the audio on the tapes? What happened to the Burger King?
I think it goes, again, why I asked to address the first part, but let me repeat it, or make this kind of point. There are three elements to here. There was a civil settlement. There was a criminal investigation that's now charges that were brought. And there's an ongoing U.S. Attorney, FBI investigation. Questions like it exist to the Burger King, the conduct at that point by the police department, other things that the police department took afterwards. All that is being looked at by the Justice Department. And so when you say that, I would just say there are three separate distinct parts. One was civil, one was criminal, one is civil rights and otherwise. And they're all, and when they conclude a lot of what you're asking, totally legitimate, they will have the questions, they will have your answers.
Mr. Mayor, have you and your office become a distraction as well?
Have I?
Have you and your office become a distraction?
I don't, I'm responsible to the public to do the job of being a mayor, and you earn that trust every day.
Have you seen the video? Have you seen the video, Mr. Mayor?
Just a second.
And if you had seen it,
Excuse me. Mr. McCarthy had become a distraction. There are a lot of questions in this room about you and your office. Have you become a distraction as well?
Well, you'll make that judgment. I think I'm doing my job, and I try to do it every day.
would you, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
What's the racial makeup of the task force?